Well, good afternoon. It's so good to have you with me today, and I am delighted to have this guest on. I have Jessica David with me from the Emmaus Women's Shelter right here in LaGrange, Georgia, and we're going to introduce you to the Women's Shelter. If you are not familiar with it, we're going to tell you a little bit about the history, and the theme that they have this fall is Fill the House. And so for those of you that are watching, you may have a need to come to the Women's Shelter, and that's great, but you also may be a viewer that could contribute either your time, your resources to the Emmaus Women's Shelter. And so that's what this program's about. So for the next 30 minutes, we're going to learn a lot about what LaGrange has to offer as far as this women's shelter. I know your mom was quite instrumental. I think she was one of the founders of Emmaus Women's Shelter. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's all about women and women collaborating and working together.
Isn't that cool? Mm-hmm. And now you get to work with her in this ministry.
Oh, I'm very privileged. I would consider Mother and Miss Kay Elam, that's Shirley Andrews, and myself to be some of the co-founders of Emmaus Women's Shelter.
Yeah, and it started, 3 years ago?
Yes, we're in our third year. Our first year was completely volunteer-driven. We were led to open the day center on Greenville Street, and that was a little bit like building an ark. We were doing something in faith because we felt the Lord led us to, and then wondered how we were going to engage the community so that they knew about the service we had been led to provide. But it began to rain pretty soon, and we've been busy ever since. And within about a month of opening the day center, we opened our nighttime emergency shelter. Yes. And we've been providing 24-hour care to homeless women and their children ever since.
Yes. So, and it's quite busy there.
Well, it is. We serve 12 women at night and their children if they need emergency shelter. But at our day center, we offer counseling and case management and hot lunches. We start every day with Bible study, and so sometimes we see upwards of more like 18 people throughout the day, in addition to all the phone counseling that we do.
Yeah, and then keeping up with all the donations and all that too. I mean, because I know
we have the busiest threshold in LaGrange.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go through clothes, you have people that make food donations, you have financial contributions, but so somebody's got to keep all that going in addition to the 18 or so people that you actually counsel and minister to.
Right.
And that's not a phone conversation. Sometimes that's really hands-on time.
It certainly is. The joke is that whether I'm a lieutenant or not, and we need an army of volunteers to manage that all the time.
Yeah. Jessica, you are the director right now of outreach and development there for the Women's Center, and we were going to call her Lieutenant David because she does feel like she's certainly a part of the army of the Lord, but she needs to recruit you today. She's a recruiter for the Emmaus Women's Shelter.
Absolutely.
And you need to recruit more volunteers. Do you accept men volunteers?
We accept men volunteers who are willing to do labor for the properties themselves. We have a lot of landscaping we have to do, and then we have a farm in development. We're also building a free store. And then when we find a good Christian role model, that's a man, we need him especially to model fatherly behavior to women and what real husbands act like. We absolutely take men as mentor volunteers too. And lately we've had a large number of teenagers and husbands. Mm-hmm. They need a volunteer that they can relate to.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. And I know your mom and Kay, let's talk again from 3 years ago. Your mom and then began to do really a day type center. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right.
And now you were telling me earlier, you have 41 churches that have contributed up to this point to the women's shelter.
Yes.
You've had almost 800 individual contributors to the women's shelter, but you're in dire need. And the fall, because of the economy, it is worse than it's been since the Great Depression. That's just a fact. We have heard that time and time again from the news media. It is bad out there. And as a person that my husband was unemployed for 18 months, so I know just going through that experience reminded me of what it's like to wonder where what's going to happen tomorrow, because
Right.
and that's where a lot of people are, and that's who you minister to, right? Mostly.
Absolutely.
And of course, abused women, I'm sure.
Sure. There are a number of reasons people would arrive at Emmaus Women's Shelter. And in the beginning, we found people who were abandoned on the interstate, neglected at Waffle House, or stuck at a bus station. We found women that the jail and the sheriff's department and the police department wished we would help them care for. So we also helped women who were transitioning out of incarceration a little bit. We were really helping women who had hit hard times. Recently, though, as the economy has changed, and LaGrange has also gotten so much wonderful praise for being a center of activity,
Yeah, we are.
center of economic vitality,
Yeah.
a center of economic opportunity. We are the most blessed region in the state right now.
Yes,
I
we
mean,
are.
we've got more to give than anybody knows how to handle. But that is also attracting people looking for those jobs. And for every one that actually gets one, there's probably 100 on their way in and out of town running out of money. And we're finding the families that are living in their minivans from like Ohio that came to find the job at Kia, and maybe they didn't fit. We have people call us from Connecticut every other day asking us if they
Really?
can come to LaGrange and find a job. We're not a hotel, but people ask if they can have a bed if they come looking for work. Absolutely.
See, my mind never would think that.
We are doing such good marketing across the United States, apparently. The Chamber of Commerce and the Downtown Development Authority, LaGrange is very attractive. And we want LaGrange to stay healthy and beautiful and be a vital community. And we're on the verge of attracting so much fallout from other cities where the jobs have gone away that we could end up with an epidemic problem. And Emmaus Women's Shelter is already on the street equipped to prevent us seeing a blight of women and children hanging out close enough to the edges so that we see them. Because primarily women around LaGrange would be much more private. Homeless women have a lot of integrity. They're hiding. They're not
Yeah,
on
I've
the
heard
street
that.
corners.
That's right.
They're hiding. But they come in when they find out there's a place for a hot shower and laundry and counseling. And long distance sometimes makes a difference in someone's lives. So we offer phone service, and access to the internet, and you can bring your children. I don't know where else you can do that in LaGrange. Work alongside your children to help your family.
Yeah.
Where that also help your husband find a job.
Yeah, yeah, and I realize that there's always a place for children's services, that the government
Absolutely.
provides and all that. But
Right.
it is the best option to keep the family together, to keep the mother and the children together. It's best. That is the best option.
A biblical model is our principal model. Absolutely. We would rather a marriage stay married. We would rather help a marriage be restored. Recently, our yard sale was extremely successful because we had the good news of two families that got back together. Instead of filing through with their divorce, they decided to get back together and dissolved extra households. And that raised money for the homeless women who were the divorcees who'd been dumped out at the shelter, where a marriage had failed. And that happens too. Sometimes I describe myself as a little bit of a recovering feminist. We all had an agenda. We got it accomplished. There's a lot of fallout from that. No-fault divorce is an ugly thing.
Yeah.
And divorce is a terrible disease.
Yes, it is.
And it causes a lot of women to suffer repercussions they never anticipated.
That's right. That's right.
We help sometimes women come for a break at the homeless shelter. I had one woman decide her husband was a better alternative. We're all about restoring marriages first.
Good.
And keeping children together, but the foster care system is why some women are homeless, though. Do you know what happens to a foster child when they grow up? They're adult orphans. Where are the parents when there's no check anymore? Where's the foster child when they turn 18?
Wow.
They're orphans, they're homeless, and they come to Emmaus Women's Shelter and find the mother and sisters that they never had. And so we're like a surrogate family to many grown-ups.
Wow. Okay, so the reason that you're here today, of course, is I hope that you're getting this and what they do. You're just a busy organization.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and your heart is for the main thrust is for women and children, of course, to help those that have need of you. So your theme for this fall is Fill the House.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about Fill the House.
Well, everyone has the opportunity to fill the house this season. we invite you to request a full-size cardboard house to fill up with canned goods or paper products.
Now, we have one of those. Now, do you, in this model, I mean, literally they could get this?
Really, they could get a cardboard house.
Okay.
That's a collection receptacle for them to decorate however they would like their house to be. And it can come to your business or to your church or to your school. Some schools have already signed up. Long Cane Middle School is going to be collecting food for us this fall. And that coincides with the National Homeless and Hunger Awareness Month happening in October and November.
Okay.
So that's going to be part of a nationwide campaign. And then we also have our smaller Fill the House containers here that collect money. And if you fill it with silver change, it is very likely to hold enough change to pay for one good bed night at the shelter.
Oh, good.
Yes. It's about $23 actually to provide the complete program for a woman. A complete program would be the 3 meals and 2 snacks, would be a hot bed with fresh, clean linens and a pillow. It'll be Bible study. It'll be counseling. It'll be career help. It'll be a makeover for her spiritually and physically. Everything she needs to be reintegrated in a $23 a day package. And compared to what the government charges for incarceration or for other programs, that is significantly less expensive for the community to support.
And I've had the privilege of being at one of your homes. It was very homey.
Yes.
You know, it was a very homey atmosphere for the children. It wasn't anything frightening. It wasn't stark. You know, it feels like home when you go in. And I would want to encourage you that if you don't know, I'm sure you could come by the women's shelter. If you want to know more, I'm sure that some of the workers there would be more than happy to provide you with that information to satisfy, you know, whatever questions you might have before you make a decision to maybe even work there. But I'm not going to call any names, but there was a child that I was able to talk with, and I'm reminded of him. I want to find out more about this brother and sister and how they're doing even today. I know they had some very serious health issues, and this lady was getting back on her feet, and y'all were ministering to her, and she was staying there with you. But these 2 kids had tremendous health issues, and so I want to hear an update on those children after the show goes off. But you can come and see. I mean, it's right here in your community. And, you know, I'm going to say this to a lot of people that are retired, or maybe there's just something that you feel like as a Christian that God, you've got a void place in your life and you're not plugging into doing something. The Emmaus Women's Shelter may be exactly the key for you to be able to plug in. And I'm all about missions. I'm all about even going overseas and building, you know, churches and building schools and things. I'm all about that. But I'm telling you, right here in our community where you could take a couple of hours a week to go out and be a ministry to somebody, whether it be a mentor, financial help, go through your closets. I know it's getting that time of the year for me again to go through the things. And I don't mean give junk. I just don't believe in giving junk to people.
No,
I'm sorry.
but we take the whole house.
I know you do.
We want the whole household.
But I'm just saying, you know, be a blessing, because when we are, you get back so much more in return, you know, and to be able to do that, it's just fulfilling. And I think in these days and times, if we would go through our attics or go through our places or go through our closets, through the drawers, and I know that most any of us at any time could pull out things and say, I'm never going to wear that. Why do I keep holding it? Let me go ahead and give that to somebody that it could bless. And again, the canned foods and all of the food drives that you're doing throughout. Now, you've got 41 churches right now. If I'm sure they can give you the names of the churches if you call the Emmaus Women's Shelter. And there's a website, I think, and a phone number here at the bottom of the screen that you can contact. But you can find out if your church is already involved. And if they're not, call and get involved. Get one of these houses. We have one over here, and it's about yay so big, and you can fill it with canned goods for the fall and become a part of making a difference. That's what this program is called. Do you make the difference? Because truly, we all can make a little bit of difference in someone's life.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned all of that, because we want everybody to go online and become a home missions partner with us.
Oh, wow.
We're a home mission center. We are your outreach that your church has prayed for. We are the church ladies solution. We are the desire you have to minister to that strange woman at Walmart and you just don't know what to do for her. Now you get to refer her to Emmaus Women's Shelter. We are your home missions place to be trained, to be exercised, and to be empowered.
I like
to
that.
build the kingdom of God. Absolutely. We are faith-based and privately funded. We are locally supported. We unapologetically proclaim that Jesus opened the doors and he saved us all. And we are only here because of his grace and mercy. And because we're Christians, we know our mercy is new every morning. And it is our duty to share that with these poor and needy. You know, and it says in Jeremiah that when we take care of the poor and needy, it will go well for us.
That's right.
You know, that's an admonition. That's part of being obedient to the Lord. And, you know, I was raised in a Christian family, but I took a walk on the wild side.
Don't we do that
Man,
sometimes?
it was deep. It was deep and wide, and the devil
Yeah.
almost took me out. And I'm only here because God's hand was on me, and I had a praying mama and grandma that made a difference.
Yeah.
And I have come from a heritage of both men and women who were Christians. Too much is given, much is expected. If anybody else can claim that, they need to make sure they are paying that forward. As Americans right now, we have more opportunity to change the whole world than we've ever had.
Absolutely.
You read Crazy Love, you read Radical, it says go overseas, do something. I did that. I've been to Puerto Rico. I've seen Africa. But I realized that the burden in me to go to Africa was good. But to be obedient to God meant I had to accept the Africa he put me in. This is my Africa. I tried to leave LaGrange 3 times. My husband brought me back and said, nope, this is it. And I said, all right, Lord, I'm cooperating this time. And we've been doing this full time. In the midst of having newborn children, I have 3 kids. You know, I have a newborn baby that's usually with me. You just didn't want to see him today. But, you know, we are a great place for youth groups to come and get a mission experience. We're a wonderful opportunity for Sunday school classes to get into the field.
I like that.
Absolutely.
I
Our
like that.
attic is hot enough for you to feel like you're in the Dominican if you want to. You know, and we've even got something happening right now that's really exciting. Our resource center is such that it helps all families from who take care of foster children, and then homeless families, and then poor and needy who find their way to our day center. We have clothes and food and all kinds of things to minister to them.
Are you
And we get to
astounded?
determine the need.
Are you astounded at how God's blessing your ministry?
Oh, it's like the threshold. The door doesn't stop opening with need and opportunity. And we must be where God is at work because God has his hand on us. And he keeps telling me to be faithful, that the community will come alongside us and catch hold of the vision he's got for LaGrange.
Yeah.
And we're just a free place for women to come on and take care of their families. And if they care about
It's an interdenominational
Absolutely.
ministry.
Interfaith, interdenominational.
Yes.
It's completely driven by our faith and trust in that the Lord would have us do this for such a time as this. We're anointed and appointed. If Miss Shirley was here, my mom, she would just proclaim that for such a time as this, we are anointed and appointed to do what we are able to do. Why wait? Come on. Go to www.emmausshelter.com. You can also find us on Facebook, and I hope you'll call me at 883-2320 and make a gift today and become a partner that impacts the kingdom right here in LaGrange.
Yeah, yeah. And to be able to be face to face with somebody, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you have the gift of teaching, or again mentorship, or
Absolutely.
whatever, you know. And I would think even from a wonderful grandpa role model for some of these children that may not have those in their life. They may not have a grandfather in their life or a father. And like you said, you are looking for those that, and so go to the website or call Jessica today and just see where you might can fit in. I can guarantee you, if you've got
It's
a
my
desire,
job to find a place for your gift to be empowered. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are very good at that, actually, and take great pride in finding opportunities for people to fulfill their own biblical destiny.
And this was a need. This ministry was a need. I've been here 11 years, and it was a need for a long. It was talked about many years ago.
And it's been tried before.
Yes.
But God has his hand on us this time, and there are enough people that created it. It was not just 3 women alone. It was a large committee of great people from Kelly Veal and Pastor Jimmy Pruitt over at Oakside, a lot of people, and Pastor Max Riley. They all convened and the pregnancy care center was concerned about having a bed, and the court system were concerned about having beds, and the sheriff's department was tired of people sleeping on their floor or women not being picked up. And we have women come in every day that tell us they've been praying for a place like this for years. And we thought it would just be LaGrange proper, but we are finding women from all the surrounding counties find us too. And then they go back and change their communities.
Yeah.
We are doing more for homeless women at our God-driven center than most homeless shelters around the country are able to do. We do a day center separate from an emergency shelter. They earn their stay. We inspire the occupational fire in their hearts. They're doing more than they ever would have as a woman on entitlement or broken by any system.
Yes. And see, that I'm glad you brought that up, because I think, again, as we watch the news, as we hear things in our country, entitlements are really not
the solution at all.
They're not the solution at all. And
No.
to help, it's okay to minister and to give, but with the thoughts that I am going to teach you how to fish. I'm not going to give you fish every day. I will
Right.
give you fish to start with, and then we're going to teach you how to get your own fish. That's the key to helping people, because I know I appreciate things that I've worked for differently than if somebody gives it to me. It's
Right.
just in our nature.
If it's some people, when it's free, they have a tendency to hoard. If you give them the opportunity to earn it, they respect it. I respect the fact that God gave me the opportunity to be at the day center every day, and I try never to underappreciate that. It provides a serious amount of support for my family, and I'll do anything to be worthy of it. And I try to model that for the other women too, that if we have to bring our children, then let's cooperate and work together. And all of the material things that people give us opportunity for these women to work and sort and find, and then think of others when they recognize.
I mean, I remember, I think it was your mom that was on. I mean, y'all have taken boats, you've taken, so whatever,
Cars,
whatever
Take
you
it
may
all.
have. It's not just about food and even money or clothes. It is, if you have an item that it is a tax deductible donation.
Absolutely.
And you can bring it or call, and I'm sure that you will do whatever you need to do to get something like that.
We could negotiate transportation, absolutely. We can do pickups when it's when that's required, if that would bless a family. We try to particularly be good ministers to those who've suffered bereavement.
Yeah.
We're a good, safe place to leave that legacy behind. And we're very respectful of all of the items that meant so much to families that's hard to let go. Invest them in Emmaus Women's Shelter. We give all of the homeless women and families first opportunity at everything that comes in to meet every one of their precious little needs. Children's Bibles, work boots, cars sometimes. And after that, we ask for permission to turn it out into a mercy sale, where monthly we then have a sale that reaches another level of the community. A dollar sale for the poor and needy empowers a whole nother segment to then bless their families. We want people to pay their rent and make their mortgages so they're not homeless. So the sharing of resources is our way of shoring up families and preventing homelessness. And so leave a legacy, a tribute to your parents or your loved ones. We can accept all of the treasure.
Well, and I know that there may be many of you, and I'm not telling you not to give to another organization. I'm just saying I like the hands-on approach that Emmaus Women's Shelter has. You're involved. You are in this community involved. It's not a national organization. I'm not against that either.
Right.
But the fact that you are so involved here.
Yeah, but don't be surprised if our model doesn't go nationwide.
It wouldn't
We
surprise
would like
me.
for other communities of godly women to be able to create a day center and emergency shelter to solve their problems too.
But each one of them, though, would be drawing from their local community.
And the
that's what's
local
so cool.
community can do great things. Even if it's a penny at a time in one of these piggy banks, I dare you to give $1 a day.
I'm going to tell you what I think would be really phenomenal is to give one of those to your children.
Absolutely.
And you
After
could
you
teach them
tithe.
and you could teach them. That's right. We have to give back to those that maybe don't have food or whatever, and you give them $1 and you teach them 10 cents of it goes to God, 10 cents of it goes to help someone that's needy. it would be a great teaching tool for your child or your grandchild, for those grandmothers that might be watching today. I would think that'd be a great
Fill
thing.
this house and have them get it back to us before Christmas.
Wouldn't that be cool?
I know, and it'd be so much fun if I got to take their picture and put them on my kids' wall of fame, because kids make change.
Yeah.
Kids
and
make a difference.
they love to feel like they are doing something to
Absolutely,
help
this is a
somebody.
wonderful way for youth groups and individual children to support us. But they hold checks too. They hold dollar bills. We appreciate those large monthly supporters coming on board with us too.
Absolutely.
Monthly support forever in a small amount is even better than a one large time gift. Just making us, like, how much is your cable bill? And how is that really blessing your family? If you could reduce your cable package and donate the difference, you would change the pollution coming into your home significantly and reverse that and make it a blessing to people right here in our community. And you mentioned schools. Did you see the article that noted over 300 children have been counted homeless in the Troup County school system this year?
No.
We have to be ready to take care of those mothers and children. Help us be ready to encourage them, support them, and provide for them.
Well, we thank you, and of course the information, your contact information is right here, so
Call me today.
call Jessica. Lieutenant Jessica is glad to help you in any way. Before I close the program, I do want to say this. I don't have but a couple of minutes, but I want to remind you that our special, that we're entering the third week of my special, On the Brink of the Rapture, hosted by Reverend Frida Porter out of Atlanta, and she gives us 40 reasons why we could be the generation that could see Christ literally return. Now, on Thursday night's program, at 7 o'clock, she is going to start the 40 reasons. She's done an introduction the past 2 weeks, and if you missed those, she's going to have that available and streamed on her website very soon at 3r1.com. So probably within the next week you can catch the first episode if you'd like to. And in those first 2 episodes, she compares Noah's Day to today's day, and that's what Christ said, as it was in the day of Noah, so shall it be when the Son of Man comes again. So you might want to go back and catch up with that. But let me say this, 7 o'clock, Thursday nights from 7 to 7:30. And then if you miss that, you can catch it at Sunday at 3 p.m., Tuesday at 9:30 a.m., or again Wednesday at 2 p.m. for those of you that might miss this Thursday night's presentation. But you can catch it again on those times, Sunday 3, Tuesday 9:30 a.m., and Wednesday at 2 p.m. So please stay tuned. And I also want you to send your questions in to her at 3r1.com. You can call them, text them, whatever. And that way on the 24th, I believe it is, of October, it's a Thursday evening, and I hope that's the right date, but it's the end of October. It's the last Thursday in October. We're going to host a live program where we answer the questions that you sent in to her during this time of study and trying to understand what times are we living in right now. So anyway, Jessica, I want to thank you for coming, and I pray that Emmaus Women's Shelter just continue to flourish and do in this community all that God has commissioned it to do. And thank you for being here and being a part of our community. See you next week. Remember, you make the difference. Christ in you is the hope of glory. Bye-bye now.
Amen.